Oh, I am live. Holy cow. Alright. Hello viewers, welcome to the stream. It's your host, it's me. Same time as always, obviously. Before we dive into what we were doing yesterday, we can talk about some stuff before we start coding. So I'm gonna show my face here real quick. So chat if you wanna tell me how's your week has been so far. My week has been wild, but how was your Monday? Let me know in the chat how's your Monday have been. I finally came around to looking at Claude sub-agents as something that is useful. I know in the past I've been making fun of people who write a bunch of sub-agents for Claude in a folder, and I basically say that those people don't build anything useful. But there's an argument that could be made for that. So when you see what sub-agents are, essentially what they are is that they are your workflows. The workflow that you normally do, and then maybe that workflow requires a big prompt. So what you want to do is you want to potentially explore sub-agents. And right now, I'm just like you. Maybe you haven't used this before, so we're gonna learn this together today. What are Claude sub-agents? And then we're gonna go and pick a task on our GitHub board, and then we're gonna tackle it one by one. So hopefully you're still with me. It's like every time I set up my camera, it turns off, and now I gotta do it again. For whatever reason, I gotta do it every time. Hopefully it shows up. There you go. See? Yeah, Firecrawl just had their Series A. Yeah, man, Viro, I'll get you connected with somebody at Firecrawl. Probably reach out to Nick, one of the co-founders. But sub-agents. So let's read this together. You stick around. I'll tell you what happened to me this week. Create and use specialized AI agents in Cloud Code for task-specific workflows and improved context management. So it's not super similar to when you use a rules file or the same agent loop, because your context window is going to be shared across all messages. What sub-agents do is it's actually separating the context window outside of the main agent loop, and then the sub-agent has its own clean context window. Yeah, so which is it's already quite interesting so far, right? Much better than just raw dogging it and prompting it your way out of the main agent loop. So let's keep reading this. What are sub-agents? Sub-agents are pre-configured AI personalities that Cloud Code can delegate tasks to. Each sub-agent has a specific purpose and expertise area, uses its own context window, separate from the main conversation, okay? Can be configured with specific tools it's allowed to use. Okay, so now that gets really interesting. So let's say you have an MCP server that does all kinds of QA stuff. What you can do is maybe you have 5 of these MCP servers, and MCP servers has God know how many tools in it, right? So you probably shouldn't give your main agent loop all the tools, right? But you kind of treat these sub agents as specific categories of tool users. So if my understanding is correctly, I can go in here and I can draw you guys a diagram. Let's see, Big Jam. Okay, so traditionally we have squares. Traditionally we have Claude agent, and then Claude agent has access to perhaps tools, and then it has access to something like MCP server with more tools. So we have something like this, right? And then at every point, your Claude agent, your Claude main agent has to decide to use a tool that is, maybe there's more tools here. Maybe there's debugging, web or browser tools. And then we have QA tools. So if we learn anything from 2023, that's what year is it right now, is that the more stuff you put in the context window, the harder it is for the agent or the LLM to pick the right thing to use, right? So what happens is people would do stuff like this and add 10 MCP servers to this. And then you get degradations in performance. And with tools like Cursor, they actually don't allow you to put more than, I think, 5 servers, those 10 server MCP server or something like that. So you kind of need a way to partition these tools into things that don't pollute the context window of the main agent. So from my understanding, just reading the documentation for, sub-agents, is that Claude agent is still here. So this is what we would call the traditional flow, right? This is Claude Code out of the box, does the job, all that, just not super configurable. Got traditional flow here, and then we got hopefully you guys can see this, and then we have here sub-agents, sub-agents. And then from here, what you do is you delegate to let me draw this so that you guys understand what I'm talking about. All of this share the same context window A. So this will have literally all the messages history and all the tools definitions from the server and hard coded. However, with the sub agents, what's gonna happen is, let me just move this up a little bit. Each one of the sub agents has his own context window. Good morning, buddy. I don't know if it's actually morning, but I appreciate that you said morning to me. But it's actually afternoon where I am. But thank you. Yeah, so we're talking about Claude sub agents today. Before we jump into setting up a few and tackle another task for our live coding. So we're gonna do this here and then this here. These are, context window B and then context window C. Okay, so what happens here is that, and also, this is really neat. This is really neat. So what we're trying to do is gonna move this down here. And then we have this here. Context window A. Yeah, so far you can tell. Actually, let me put the agents in. Okay, sub agent. And then we got sub agent. So far you can see that context window A here encapsulates a whole bunch of shit, right? And then here it's just like the main agent. And then when you ask it to do something, what's gonna happen is these sub agents also have access to additional tools, right? Otherwise they'll be useless, essentially. Oh no, I don't want that. Yeah, so this one is, MCP server for more tools. But again, like I said, this belongs inside a context windows B. So it's not polluting the main agent loop, which has access to context windows A, which means we potentially could get better performance, because now instead of looking at these two agents, right? So I'm just gonna call this one main agent and this one also main agent. Let's see. Instead of having this main agent looking at dozens of tools at once, it's looking at two things, which are two of its subordinates and two of its employees. And this alone will give us better performance in terms of like tool calling. Because instead of calling the tool directly, it delegates that to a sub agent to do that. This is just another agent loop that has its own message history, its own context window, so that by the time this is done with its job, it goes back here. The context window of this context window A that belongs to the main agent does not get polluted with a whole bunch of like analyses and all that stuff, and tool definition especially. I'm like extremely tired today, guys. Like I slept like 2 hours last night. But I'm surprised that I'm still here like talking about this and understanding what the hell sub agents are. So I hope you guys, did anyone use sub agents before? Let me just read the chat real quick and let me know in the chat if you have used sub agents before. Viro says, I found that normal sub agents are good, but the ones that you need to personalize may be a little too much of an overkill. Don't have time to do that. That's true, yeah. But you also, I guess, you probably can have the cake and eat it too, because I've seen Anthropic putting out like what is it called? Tutorials of like how to generate sub agents. You just tell it what you want, and then it'll generate a prompt, I guess, for a sub agent. I don't know if it actually create the tools for sub agents, but the point of these two is that traditional flow, if you don't have a lot of tools, you just want to do one task, it's great, and you don't have to remember anything. You just run it. But if you have a lot of tasks of like different types, and you also have access to multiple different tools like MCP servers, then separating them out into sub agents would make the life of the main agent much easier, like much easier. Yeah, so let's just continue reading this. So we already talked about that part. What happened to my shirt here? I'm like extremely emotional today, guys. I'm like, something scratched my shirt. I'm gonna tear up. What are sub-agents? Sub-agents are pre-configured AI personalities that Cloud Code can delegate tasks to each sub-agent. I gotta read that. Okay, cool. Key benefits: context preservation. Each sub-agent operates in its own context, just like we talked about, preventing pollution of the main conversation, and keeping it focused on a high level of objectives. Yeah, so less junk in the context window, and it's better for the agent to be performant. Specialized expertise. So sub-agents can be fine-tuned with detailed instruction for specific domains, leading to higher success rates on designated tasks. Okay, when they say fine-tune with detailed instruction, it's actually, I don't think they mean fine-tuning a model. I got excited for a moment there. Does Anthropic even have a fine-tuning API? I guess so, yeah. Reusability. Once created, sub-agents can be used across different projects and shared with your team for consistent workflows. It's cool. Also, Test Coho, you tell me how your Monday went, and I'll tell you mine. Flexible permissions. Each sub-agent can have different tool access levels, allowing you to limit powerful tools to specific sub-agent types. I read that sentence and then my brain didn't even register any of the words. That's what 2 hours of sleep does to you. Flexible permission. Each sub-agent can have different tool access levels. Okay, yeah. So essentially, if we were to run this, maybe like this agent has a certain permission, configuration, and you can do that through like the claw config file. You can save in your repo. This one might have different ones. This one might require more, specific or deeper levels of access because it's doing something like QA maybe. So that's great. So separation of concerns. That's great. Monday was pretty sleep deprived. Same dude. Yeah, my Monday was wild. I had a horrible Monday. But then the silver lining was that I reached out to a bunch of friends and they hopped on a call with me, and I just poured my heart out, and I'm so happy to have people like that in my life. And it's not something that I'm used to actually. Like I never talk about like what I'm going through, how I'm feeling and stuff like that. But for some reason they brought on a call with me, and I'm grateful for that. So that's why I had the strength to be back here today, and we're yapping about this sub-agent stuff. So a quick start to create your first sub-agent. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit here, personal things here and there, because you guys didn't tune in to hear a sob story. As much as I want to tell a sob story, because it helps me take my mind off of it. But we're talking about sub-agents today. Open the sub-agents interface, run the following command, agents. Okay, so I want to do this. Because obviously I'm very curious what would a sub-agent look like. So I'm going to do Claude, right? I'm going to do agent, like they said. Okay, so we got agents, manage agent configurations. Okay, yes, please. Okay, so no agents found. Create agent. No agents found. Create specialized sub-agents that Claude can delegate. Each sub-agent is on a context window. Try creating code reviewer, code simplifier. Virus says we are trying to build the lore behind step by step. Bro, my lore is that I'm very lonely. That's my lore. And I'm very afraid of being alone. Terribly afraid of being alone. Like if I turn off my stream right now, I probably won't be able to move on with this task. But I'm gonna keep my stream on. It's so good that nobody's fucking watching this. I'm like crashing out on live right now. But let's go back to this. Okay, so built-in, always available. General purpose, Sonnet, status line setup. What does that mean? Output style setup. Okay. General purpose. Okay. I guess create new agent. Choose location. Project or personal. Oh, so this saves in your user configuration folder, essentially, which is cool because then you can use it across multiple different projects. I would say I want to put an agent in this specific project, which is in .claw/agents. And if you wonder where that is, I can show you where that is. Claw, yeah, setting local is JSON, yeah. So these are all the things that we allow it to run without having to ask for our permission. Because sometimes, you know, like when you're like type in a huge prompt and you're like, Claude, don't make mistake. You hit enter, you alternate tabs so quick, and then you go back like 20 minutes later, and it's not doing anything, but it's just like asking you if you can allow it to use grep or something or search a file. And I'm like, fuck, like I thought it was doing stuff, but wasn't. Virus says, come to Miami. Wait here. Moved here with my visa. Need to build AI community. I didn't know you're based out of Miami. I always thought you're based out of Italy. I know you're Italian, but yeah. So now I know you're based out of Miami. I think you told me this. It's just I forgot. So sorry about that. But yeah, I've only been to St. Pete. Never been to Tampa Bay. Never been to Miami. So definitely on my list. Yeah, I'm always curious how it's like to be in Miami. I feel like it's whatever GTA 6 looks like, right? So tell me if I'm wrong. Okay, so project and then creation method, manual configuration, or generate with Claude. Okay, I don't know jack shit about this, so describe what this agent should do and when it should be used. It's almost like putting expert there matters. I'm gonna say is what do we need? The better question is, what do we usually do on Claude? So if I can figure out like the history of it all, maybe I could find a use case that I just keep doing it over and over. Could be like a QA kind of like agent where it's like running lint, building the project, see if there's any errors. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat. Vara says, yeah, got my O1 visa here, got an apartment here in Miami Beach. Bro, I'm going to visit you. I'm going to visit you. I need to take my mind off of this. Yeah, I think you guys, I don't know if you guys can tell already. I went through a breakup literally on Monday. So I'm like very fresh out of it. And like some people like they do like vlogs about like, you know, for 6 months, whatever. I don't know, whatever helps people cope. For me, for the first time in my life, I reached out to people, my friends, and the outcome was amazing. And I pretty much have my calendar booked up till like mid September. Just lunch, coffee, lunch, coffee, lunch, coffee, and I'm so excited to catch up with my friends because like for a time in my life, I was always working. I didn't really put in the work for like friendship. Not until you realize that you don't have like a supportive, or I do have a support network, but I thought I didn't have one because I was just putting everything on the back burner. But now I realize I have one, and I'm very grateful for it. So we thought we were over, but we're so back today, except for the sleep deprivation. Okay, we've got memory. Ooh, edit memory. Interesting. Okay, we digress. I'm trying to remember what we usually do on Claude Code. What we usually do is we take a feature, we plan it, and then we modify the plan if you want to, and then we execute, right? So maybe we can create a planner. Create a planner, an architect planner agent that can take the user's query and create detail query, understand the code around the request deeply, and write detailed plans. This is a shitty version of of a sub agent, but we have to start somewhere, right? And it's gonna cost us money to generate one. It's okay. We'll see. I wonder if I can see the file here. Claude. Okay, that's Claude. So while we're waiting for this, I went to bed and I'm like, you know how it's like when you're like going through a breakup? It's like you just have these waves of like emotions, right? It's like one moment you're okay, and then one moment you're like, ugh. It's like manifesting physically. I think one of the big things that my friends told me is that you need to find somebody who understands the grind. Like this came up multiple times. People are just like, it's a particular lifestyle to be a founder, and it's very taxing on both the founder and their partner. So my idea was that I could change it. I could have the cake and eat it too. My idea was that I was gonna be like, if I can figure out like a algorithm, like a plan of some kind, carve out time here, there, structured time, no compromises, and then we'll have it. We'll have it all, But I think that the common wisdom is that if you're a founder, you need to find somebody who understands what it's like to be a founder, because it's not like normal people understand it. And I live in Ottawa, which is a government town, so it's hard for people to understand what I really mean when I say like I'm a founder. It's like, yeah, it comes down to working too much essentially. So create new agent, all tools. Ooh, okay, all tools, read only tools, edit tools, execution tool. So show advanced option. Ooh, nice. So now you get to see all the tools that a Claude agent has. So basically all the cool stuff like bash, running bash commands, bash scripts, glob, grep, finding stuff, ls, reading directories, read, edit, multi-edit, nice, write, notebook edit. I'm assuming this is for Jupyter notebooks. What happens if I press enter? Oh, okay. Web fetch, so web search, to do write, so that's writing to a plan. Bash output, kill bash. Okay. I would say not all tools, but read only tools, because this agent is only allowed to plan, right? It's not allowed to do anything. So execution tools, that's just bash. Okay, yeah, I guess so. Continue. Ooh, okay, planners. Do we want the planner to be super expensive, super smart? Or do you want the planner to be whatever the parent model is? Haiku. I think it should be smart, but not too expensive. That's like 10 times. 10 times or 7 times more expensive or something. Yeah. So Sonnet. Yo, I love this. This is why people love CLI, by the way. It's cute. Like, you go in cursor, it looks like Salesforce. You go in here, it's like, automatic color. How do I know what I want? Purple, green, pink, cyan. What do you want for this? For planning, I'd say orange. Architect planner. Okay. Yeah, go for it. Okay, so I can see that it had updated the file behind me. We have an agents folder. This is how sub agents work. We have an agents folder. Oh my god. And we have the agent right here. So very long. I don't know what's good and what's bad. So I have to try it. And this is the configuration file for Claude Code to look at it, I guess. Like the configurations here. Yep. So what we're gonna do is so viral. Yeah, I'm gonna go to Miami at some point. So we're gonna link up. I'm just assuming you're driving a Corvette. That was my memory from visiting Tampa Bay. Like people driving around in Corvettes. That's what I remembered. Yeah. And beaches and Latinas. That's what I remembered. Never been to Miami though. But let's go back here and see what else we've missed. Define sub agent. Okay. Save and use. Use search engine. Use the code review. Okay. File locations. File format. Each submission define markdown. Oh, it's only a markdown. That's great. So anyone can change this. You can change it whenever you want. Sometimes I'm okay, and other moments I'm not. And I just wish that I think I'm gonna document this because one day I'll get over it and I'll probably miss the memories of being in the middle of it, and maybe I could take some of this wisdom for the next time when it happens. But managing sub-agents, using agents command, recommended. Okay, so we gotta use -agents. Direct file management. Can you also manage sub-agents by working directly with their files? Okay. Using sub-agents effectively, automatic delegation. This is what I thought would be default. Cloud Code proactively delegates tasks based on task description in your request. The description in the so like a tool use. Fun fact. So Anthropic, but OpenAI Agents SDK. The way that it does this what is it called handoff between agent and agent is just basically a tool call, and the tool is the name of the next agent that it's gonna hand off to. So if you look at the code, it's literally just like the other agents are just tools, and then this is just like a tool call. So I'm assuming here it's going to be a tool call to pass to another agent. To encourage more proactive sub-agent use, you include phrases like use proactively or must be used. Explicit, okay. Run this, okay, cool. Example of agents, okay. Debugger, okay. Dear scientist, okay. The problem with this though is that when you have a sub-agent that does what's it called? QA, do you want the sub-agent to be able to fix that, or do you want to send that back to the main agent? That's my question. Advanced usage, chaining sub-agents. Complex workflows, you can chain multiple sub-agents. First, use the code analyzer to find performance issues, then use it. Okay. Dynamic sub-agent selection. Okay, make sure the color code intelligently select sub-agent based on context. Make sure it should description. Okay. Performance consideration. Sometimes I stop because my mind is thinking about the stuff that just happened, or the memories of the good stuff in the past. I'll be like, it just like sips into my consciousness, and it just like sit there. And I'm like, because like sometimes I would do something and it'll remind me of like that person. For example, when I read this, I make like a sound with my voice, and then I remember they make that sound, and I'm like frozen for a little bit. But then I realized that I'm on stream live right now, so I'm like, gotta lock in. Okay, let's go. Context efficiency. Agents help preserve main context, enabling longer. Okay, whatever. Yeah, hooks are really interesting. We'll talk about hooks maybe at some point, because hooks are like if you know React hooks, you can hook into like different life cycle stages of a React component. So when a React component mounts, dismount, running, all that stuff. So same with an agent, like when an agent start, maybe a tool use, like different events, life cycle that you can kind of run code at the same time. So we'll talk about hooks tomorrow. Actually, I'd love to explore this with you guys. So okay. We have agents now. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna plan something, right? So let's see what kind of task we want. And sorry guys, I think I had to cut it short because I'm extremely tired and extremely sleep deprived, and I just but I promise you I'll get back here tomorrow. That's what I can promise you. Today, I'm doing my best. I'm here. I'm actually learning something new, which is kind of dope. But in the middle of it all, I think there's still so many things that I have to figure out. Why the hell is this failing? We gotta fail CI, guys. What happened here? Not releasing. I wonder why. Okay, whatever. What is our next goal post? Let me double check. Shape, allow user to program the great progress against project over time. Like I keep zoning out. Like I keep thinking about log in. Okay. Allowing. I think what we're gonna do is we were gonna create a. This is done, by the way. We've managed to have done this yesterday, yesterday was like incredibly tough for me. But Claude. I was gonna say I did this, but Claude did this, guys. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add another item here. I'm gonna say let's say program can create a web app. Yeah. Create new issue. So the plan for us since the beginning of this week has been to put browser base on this, have the user put in their like I don't know, GitHub, not GitHub, but their maybe Vercel deployed URL, and then this agent will need to spin up a headless browser, go to that website, and then start taking screenshot, clicking around, and see if it actually works. That's what we're trying to do, and I'm so excited to do this. So the problem is students submit deployed applications on the yeah, sometimes when I freeze like this, it's because I'm thinking about it, but it's gotta give me a second so I can get back into a loop. It'll be so fun to watch these streams again, like in the future, like 6 months from now. I'll be like, yo, this dude was a mess. But I also learned this new thing. Which is really cool, which is to forgive myself. Always, it's not my fault. Like, my brain is wired to problem solve, right? So when something doesn't work out, when there's something that is painful in my life, I usually blame myself, and I want to find the problem and solve it. But then when you're in a relationship, like, there's like a million things that happen, right? How do you know which one you're responsible for? How do you know which one is the catalyst, you know? So going back to this, students often just submit deploy applications on web page. Currently, there's no way for the program to grade that other than grading the code itself, which is only half the battle. Yeah. I think I'll live. So the solution is we're gonna just pick a solution right now. So we have a bunch of other options here. So we have like browser base, browser use, a few other things. I'm just gonna go ahead and use browser base because we talked about this last time. Browser base. Use browser base to interact with the deployed application on the web and grade it. Rabbit holes, maybe spinning up browser instances is easy, but web automation, aka scrolling, clicking around, etc., might be hard. Web automation might be hard. Sometimes when it happens, it's like it's hard for me to breathe, and this is the first time in my life where I'm like paying very close attention to like what the sensation feels like. Before I'll just be like distracting myself. That's why it takes forever to get over it, right? But this time around, I'm like, I'm just gonna sit here and raw dog it. And it's like last night was tough, right? It's like I'm sitting in the middle of my apartment. There's no furniture because I'm about to move. I mean, I've never had furniture. That was the real secret. I'm just sitting here. It's dark, and I'm eating dinner, and I couldn't even eat it. I was like, it was hard for me to put food in my mouth. And you think about it, you're like, huh, why is it that severe? Like, it's just like a little thing. Like, but I think people downplay it. If you really sit with your feelings, it's brutal. But my hope is that I get over it faster. Okay, so no goes. We're not gonna do nothing fancy with adding response back to Notion. Just focus on being able to create the deployed app, and probably through working functionalities and aesthetics, because when you see screenshots, you potentially give this to like an LM, kind of like Gemini, or Gemini would be like very cost effective. Gemini, or let's say Claude, to look at the design, or GPT-5. Okay, so I'm gonna put this in create. Okay, we got it. So this is what we're gonna do next time. What we're also gonna do is we're gonna explore Claude Code hooks, which I've always been wanting to look at. So maybe I need to take a nap or something. But yeah, that's all the strengths I have for you guys today. I can't go on for longer, but I will be back tomorrow. So if you're watching this stream, it's gonna be so weird. But I'll see y'all tomorrow. Today we set up Claude sub agents. Tomorrow we will set up some hooks, or look at hooks, and then we will do this this really cool thing. I mean, I kind of want to do it now. I just don't have the mental capacity to do it. It's so, yeah. I mean, look at this website. It's so shiny. It's like, I guess this is like the equivalent of like an adult's toy. That sounds wrong, but like an adult's like Lego. So you get to play with this instead of Lego. It's like multi-million-dollar infrastructure in the cloud that runs a browser or something. Yeah. Anyways, I will see y'all tomorrow, 1 p.m. EST. I promise. If I don't show up, call the cops. I mean, don't do that. I will show up. Yeah. If I don't, it's because I overslept, because I only slept like 2 hours today. But I will see y'all tomorrow.